In the 1970s, Bill Mollison and David Holmgren teamed up to develop ideas about stable agriculture systems in Tasmania, as they saw problems with our growing industrial agriculture that relied heavily upon non-renewable resources, while also poisoning our land and water systems. They first published their ideas in 1978 in the form of a book called Permaculture 1. Over the decades, these theories have evolved to include human habitats and has grown into something of a cultural movement in areas around the world. Originally, the word was a conjugation of permanent agriculture, but permaculture can be summed up as a kind of ecological design or engineering that looks to create architecture and self-sustaining agriculture systems by looking at natural ecosystems and how they work. But what does it all mean and how does it look? Well, to understand this, it is helpful to begin by looking at the three core tenets of permaculture. 1. Care for the earth. 2. Care for people. And 3. The return of a surplus. Permaculture is the means of achieving these three core tenets. In my own understanding, permaculture is a systems design approach to our environment, where we include the earth, ourselves, and our input and output within that system. The theory behind permaculture looks at how our built environment that supports us can be harmoniously merged with the natural environment, while becoming self-sustaining at the same time. While many of these systems can operate by themselves, it requires a good understanding of permaculture principles and theory before being able to create these systems. There are 12 permaculture principles. Observe and interact. Catch and store energy. Obtain a yield. Apply self-regulation and accept feedback. Use and value renewable resources. Produce no waste. Design from patterns to details. Integrate rather than segregate. Use small and slow solutions. Use and value diversity. Use edges and value the marginal. And creatively use and respond to change. After these 12 principles, there are a few other basic practices that need to be understood. The two that I will be talking about is gilding and zoning. Gilding is the grouping of elements or small systems so they can support and operate in relationship to each other in a much bigger system. The aim is to avoid what permaculturalists call the dreaded monoculture. Monocultures are what exist in many of our agricultural establishments today, where a single plant is spread over a large area of land. These monocultures lack the diversity and support of other plants and wildlife, and so farmers need to rely on pesticides, toxic fertilizers, and other man-made poisons that end up in our water systems. Permaculture sees the value in replicating the way natural ecosystems operate, with diversity at the core of its function. There are many different gilding variations possible, and it all comes down to choosing the right one for a location. Zoning begins at the household, which is Zone 0. Some people believe there is a Zone 00, but that's a philosophical area we won't delve into just yet. Zone 0 is the base of operations, the headquarters. In permaculture, there are 5 zones, and they're separated by frequency of use or required attention, by the types of plants and animals that occupy it, and whether or not the space contains any form of human intervention. Zoning helps in the design phase so we can observe the current state of an environment and plan for how it will grow, operate, and be maintained. As you can see, permaculture aims to take our human environment and make it work to our advantage while maintaining biodiversity and the health of the earth. In a broader sense, permaculture speaks of a more philosophical approach to our lifestyles than simply growing our own food.